Yeah, usually start off with a nice image on a MODIS this morning, but we couldn't get anything that was really cloud-free the last few days, so we split it up. But this false imagery will come in handy this time of year to show the last of the snow and ice melting across New England. As you can see through southern New England into central western New York, we're pretty much snow-free. I-90 corridor south, we're pretty much snow-free, and north of that it's still quite wintry. This morning on the water vapor imagery, we have another slug of moisture coming through the Midwest into the Great Lakes region, which will affect New England later tomorrow into early Saturday, but not real heavy precipitation with this event. What we really want to key in on is what happened over the last 5 days here in southern New England. We had 4 to 5.5 inches of rain in southern New England, about a month's worth of precipitation in 6 hours in parts of Rhode Island. And luckily this fell in mostly an area that was snow-free, so we didn't have a melt concern. But what happened in our area was we had about 20 sites go to minor and moderate flooding. You see that we had 4 sites moderate flooding on the Yantic, Pawcatuck River, southern Connecticut and southern Rhode Island, south central Rhode Island, in that heavy rain area. And then 6 out of 8 of our weather forecast offices had some flooding in it this time for this event. And as we look at the current conditions across the Northeast, the north of I-90, as I was saying, is where the snow water equivalent is. The high hills of Worcester into the Berkshires, Litchfields, 1 to 2 inches of snow water equivalent on this map. And Adirondacks to the green and whites, we quickly build up to 6 to 8 inches. And then in interior Maine, we're in 9 to 12 inches of snow water equivalent. And it's pretty significant snow water for the Champlain basins, tributaries to Connecticut, and of course all of Maine's headwaters. There's quite a bit of snow there in Maine, and we're reading somewhere in the upper 25% to 10% of the historic snow water equivalent. The interesting thing here from NORIS is the temperature of the snowpack in the red is around 32, and doesn't need a lot of energy to get rid of this snow. So this is ready to go with the high sun angle and any rain we get in this area in the next week or so. But interior Maine, the snow temperatures and the consistency of the snow is similar to what it was 2 to 3 weeks ago in the middle of March. So the season's really behind in that area. And in that red area, the density is around 40%. So yeah, it's getting up there ready to go. 2 weeks ago we talked about the stream flow conditions, and from the USGS, what a turnaround through southern New England and New York, normal to above normal conditions, and we still have a couple of flood points in southern Rhode Island. And of course 2 weeks ago this was very dry. Now in northern New England we have many ice-covered gauges, ice-affected gauges, but stream flow reports from there are below normal because everything's still locked into the snowpack. And the groundwater subsequently has started recharging, of course, in the melt area in southern New England to normal. And below normal, there hasn't been any runoff in the past 4 months. Looking at our water supply lakes, the New York system has gone from 10% below average 2 weeks ago. Now we're about 3% below, so we picked up there. Of course, a lot of the snow has melted out of those basins. And in Situate Reservoir in Rhode Island was spilling above normal. Quabbin Reservoir is normal. Lake Champlain, we're about 2 feet below the normal, but we're expecting the next week or so we could have a 1.5 to 2 feet rise with the runoff expected there. Looking at the current soil moisture, river ice thickness, and frost depth, the Palmer, the long-term and the shorter-term indices and the shallow soil indices are all indicating normal to above normal conditions, as we'd expect here in the south, of course. The ice is continuing to rot and flush out in southern central regions across our area. We saw a good film clip of the ice leaving the Mohawk. But still in northern New Hampshire, northern New York, northern New Hampshire, northern Maine, 1 to 2 foot of ice in the rivers and up to 30 inches reported. Frost depth, we got a report from Joe Hewitt in Caribou that there are reports of 5 foot of depth, open areas and mainly near town areas.
Close down number 1. I said they're going to come back with slightly above normal because of all the rain we had, but who knows?
Would you please mute your phone? Thank you.
I just want
to... let the ground here in southern New England, southern New York. Try to go to the next slide. Okay, the outlook for the next 2 weeks. Week 1, below normal temperatures are expected across the Northeast and above normal precipitation. Next 2-day forecast is 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of precipitation with the first event going through. And on the right slide is a 1-week product from the Weather Prediction Center. Up to 2 inches seen here on this graphic in the next week or so, which is slightly above normal, normal to above normal. And week 2, still considering a cool regime, below normal temperatures with above normal precipitation. And with these systems moving through, the phase of the North Atlantic oscillation is very important as we look for if there's going to be any blocking or slowing down of these systems, as would somewhat happened in the last system to hit southern New England. As we look at the North Atlantic oscillation, all winter it's been above, has been in the positive range, as we talked about, very progressive systems, and within the last week or so, we've gone negative, and we had that cutoff go south of New England and prolong the precipitation. See, the forecast is for negative to about neutral on the NAO, so there is some concern about a blocking pattern with 1 or 2 of the next systems. And the PNA, the Pacific North American oscillation, is going to remain around neutral. The outlook for 6 to 10 days, as I talked about, below normal temperatures, above normal precipitation, and then in the 8 to 14 day, we have still below normal temperatures and above normal precipitation by the Climate Prediction Center. Our friends at Environment Canada also are showing this trend of normal to below normal temperatures in the 8 to 14 day across the Northeast. Looking at our surface weather map coming up for April 5th, a couple days, low pressure in the eastern Great Lakes moving north with not really deep moisture from the Gulf entering into the system, so we expect the 1/4 to 3/4 inch of precipitation with snow in the far northern basins of the Adirondacks into extreme northern New Hampshire and northern Maine. The 500 millibar pattern, look at the wind barbs. We're finally getting Pacific modified air and not Arctic air into the pattern here in the Northeast, though there is a big trough in the Great Lakes area. As we go out to the middle of next week, this is the system we're going to have to watch real close because it is connected to the deep tropics. We hope this remains progressive, but it could be blocked, prolonging the precip. We'll look at that for next Tuesday and Wednesday. But right now, early indications are 1 to 2 inches of rain across New England, with even some of the northern basins getting into this rain with this model as the low pressure goes mainly west of New England. And you can see in the 500 millibar, 20,000 foot level, we're injecting air right from the Gulf of Mexico, so there's a lot of moisture for the next system. As we go out a week later, we're still in this trough in the east with more precipitation moving through the Northeast. So we expect the wetter than normal times coming up in the next 2 weeks, as mentioned. And you can see the troughiness is still here in the Northeast with modified Pacific air riding over the top of us. So based on the current stream flow, the soil moisture, the systems coming into the Northeast, and the potential for some pretty good snow water equivalents in the upper basins of the Adirondacks through Vermont, northern central New Hampshire and Maine, we're going above normal for our flood potential outlook for the next two weeks. Our ice potential flooding is really confined to northern Adirondacks, northeast Kingdom of Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and northern and central Maine. Our next outlook, we plan to get back on the Friday schedule at 11 a.m. for the outlook unless something comes up before then. And one thing we did want to tell you, we transitioned our web page at 12 p.m. today. It should be operational shortly. This new look web page. Get on there and get yourself familiar with it, because there are some differences here when you scroll down and dig into the page a little deeper, but the products are all here. This is what the new page will look like. And that's about the end of the briefing. Any comments, questions?
Ed, this is Jim Gallagher in New Hampshire.
Hey, Jim.
Is there a rule of thumb, too, about snow density causing a melt?
Well, we look at 40 to 50. We get kind of concerned it's going to go pretty quick with a 32-degree temperature.
Okay.
Go look on the no-risk site. You'll see, it quickly, when it starts getting up over 60%, it's gone.
Okay.
Very rarely will you see 100% on that map from no-risk. So, yeah, we start getting concerned when it's around 40.
Okay.
Like northern New Hampshire and interior Maine, it's kind of like it should be probably in the second week of March.
Yeah. Okay. And I saw the new website there. You don't have the self-briefing page on it anymore?
Yeah, it is there. You got to dig down a little bit into it. Right now, it's not up, so I can't show it to you. But yeah, the self-briefing page will be there.
Okay.
The right-hand menu is what I'm being told here.
Thanks, Ed.
Hi, this is Linda Hudgens from Mass DCR.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, I have a question about why on your flood outlook that even Massachusetts, where the snow is mostly gone, you've got us an above normal flood potential.
Well, Linda,
Is that because of the rain and how high the rivers are right now?
Yeah, that's what we kind of thought. The rivers are pretty high, and there's no evapotranspiration right now, so it's not like they're going to just suddenly go low. And there's a couple systems, maybe 3 moving in the next 10, 12 days.
Okay, but yet when I look at the HPC and I look at your flood outlook, it's really not showing any areas.
Well, the flood outlook, if you look at the 5-day product, that would be for significant flooding and more, and we're not anticipating that right now, but certainly minor flooding could be on the table. But you won't see it on that significant flood outlook page.
Okay, so as long as it doesn't pop up there, I don't need to be really crazy concerned.
As long as you don't see us outlining something there, you won't. We're not expecting moderate or major flooding, right?
Okay, good.
Yeah, you can still get the minor flooding, and that's why we put it above normal for that.
Okay, fair enough.
No other questions. Thanks for attending. And
hey, Ed.
Yep.
This is Joe from Caribou.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, just to pass on, I know you got my note on the frost depth.
Yeah.
The reports that we received up, especially in the St. John Basin, is that frost depth is one of the deepest they've seen probably in about 10 years.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
And even in town, Ed, in some of the areas like Madawaska or Fort Kent, rather, that area, Frenchville, the depth is even deeper. So there's some concern come later in the spring when the thaw starts to take place.
Yeah, so you could lose some infrastructure up there, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, thanks a lot for the report, Joe.
You're welcome, Ed. Thank you.
Okay, if no other questions, hopefully we'll talk to you in 2 weeks and not sooner. Sooner means flooding. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Good job.
Goodbye.